Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the Russia-Ukrainian war. We have entered day 192 of the ongoing conflict. And I've pulled up the tactical map in around the western bank of the Dnieper River, so you can kind of see what is happening on the ground in this area. But first, what I wanted to do is jump into the headlines talking about the said ongoing conflict, because I think it's very important. What you don't hear about could be an indication of what could be happening on the front lines, especially in this area of the ongoing war, the western bank of the Dnieper River. So we jump right in, and the White House asks Congress for nearly $12 billion more for Ukraine aid. Just going to keep shelling that money. Let's see, the Ukrainians report they've shot down 5 Russian caliber cruise missiles fired at the city of Dnipro. This is interesting. This is coming out of the Irish Independent. Russian supporters, tell me what you think about this. Give me your feedback. Russian recruiters try to persuade homeless men to join army and boost numbers in Ukraine. Got a difficult time swallowing that report. Just, I don't know. Could it be true? Is it possible? UN inspectors to have full picture of Ukraine nuclear site in days. UN plans permanent presence at Ukraine nuclear plant amid concerns over shelling. And these are more of the Ukrainian-based headlines that tend to gravitate, or they absolutely gravitate more towards the Ukrainian perspective. Heating and electricity, water, international organizations ready to support Donetsk region this winter. For Ukrainians in Crimea, free evacuation trains have been launched. Civilian casualties reported as Russia invaders shell Mykolaiv and Oblast. 50 explosions in Russian shelling in Chernihiv. Moscow. Let's see here. Russian army attacks Chernihiv. And so what's missing from this? And most of those were coming out of the Ukrainian sphere of influence here. Explosions rock Kherson. Ukraine armed forces destroy recreation facility at which soldiers were staying. And then this is coming out of Newsweek. Putin's new Third Army Corps suffers setback, equipment not ready. So what you're not hearing is about this ongoing Ukrainian offensive that is taking place on the western bank of the Dnieper River. So what that usually means is, in all probability, if it's not being reported by the Ukrainian press, by the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, by the Ukrainian political apparatus, things are probably not going too well for Ukrainian forces in this ongoing operation. And again, we'll kind of jump right in here where you, the viewer, can kind of see some of the forced dispositions that have taken place with specifically Ukrainian forces and some of the Russian units as well. But again, take this with a grain of salt. It looks like, at least operating in the northern part of the western Dnieper River footprint, is the 60th Motorized Rifle Brigade, being supported by the 128th Air Mobile Airborne Brigade, moving south, attacking Russian forces in this ongoing offensive operation. And we also know that there are additional naval infantry units and the 17th Heavy Artillery Regiment, and supporting that force, as well as the 63rd Mechanized Brigade. Moving further south, you have the 36th Independent Marine Battalion of the Ukrainian forces, the 59th Motorized Rifle Brigade, the 28th Mechanized Brigade, 46th Artillery Battalion, 35th Independent Naval Infantry Battalion, 126th Air Mobile Unit Brigade, and then the 137th Naval Infantry Battalion as well. So, at the very minimum, in this ongoing offensive directed towards this western footprint, is roughly in the 11th over here. You can't take that unit out. That's the 11th National Guard Brigade as well. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at minimum 7 to 8 Ukrainian combat brigades, plus, in all probability, several territorial brigades that have been moved into this operation, and obviously units that we are not seeing as well. So very good probability that units over here near Mykolaiv have been forwardly deployed against Russian forces in this ongoing operation. But what we do know is through anecdotal reports, video evidence that is coming in through various video feeds that we are able to look at. It looks like Ukrainian forces are really getting pounded with a lot of Russian heavy artillery, and the Russians have resumed using tactical air assets, dropping 1,000-pound dumb bombs on Ukrainian forces at a higher rate, and we believe at this point, because just simply the lack of information in terms of what is happening, this Ukrainian offensive is really kind of coming to, quite possibly, coming to a close rather quickly. There just has not been a lot of territorial gains, and the Russians continue to pound these Ukrainian forces that have entered into the fray and launched said operation. But we'll continue to watch this very closely. If you go kind of further to the south, and you can kind of see the deployed defensive lines the Russians set up. So you have kind of an outer line just to the west of the main air base near Kherson, and then you kind of have this inner defensive barrier as well near the city of Kherson itself. So again, as I talked about in the previous video, it doesn't look like the Ukrainians are trying to press the attack into the city of Kherson itself. But again, they're looking to attack more north and northeast of the city of Kherson, looking to drive south possibly. And it doesn't look like they have made a lot of headway at this point. There's a little bit of a salient here near, how do you pronounce that? Lozov. And then they were able to have some success up here near Petrovivka as well, with these two brigades plus in support of this operation up here. But this has really been where some of the heaviest fighting is, to the northeast, and kind of, it would be kind of north central in the Kherson western bank footprint. And that's kind of where it sits right now. Again, not a lot of movement, but we will continue to monitor, report, and bring you more information as it occurs. But again, it's just not real. It's just this constant war of attrition that we're really seeing on the ground right now. The early stages of this, as it was talked about, and as we saw the Russian buildup. If you go back to some of my earlier videos, even before the conflict started, I talked about just how messy this conflict was going to be, and it was not going to be something that would be quick. It was going to be a long, protracted conflict. But quite frankly, in all honesty, I didn't foresee it lasting. Just in terms of the way it is occurring right now. Thought it would look a little bit different, probably not a bit different, but I did believe it would look different than what it does now, and would not have suspected that it would become what we're seeing right now in terms of the way the war has manifested itself. And if it did, I would have assumed that Russia would have gone into full mobilization in order to try and wrap this up. And we're just not really seeing that at this time. But that's where we're kind of at today. But again, we will of course have more very, very soon. And again, as always, thanks for joining us. Have a good day.